welcome back to the iRacing British Touring County Car Championship rounds 10, 11 and 12 from Laguna Seca with me, Chris Cohen on BSR TV, and joining me once again in the commentary box is Dan Blake. Dan, the car's all forming up on the grid now. Turn 1 is going to be the main danger zone on the first lap. How do you think that one's going to go down?
I think there may be a bit of contact, but the cars now are on the grid. The drivers' blood pressures and pulse rates will start to get higher and higher as the race comes ever closer. And when those lights go, full on adrenaline drive down to the first corner. And I think for some of the drivers in the mid-pack, it really will be a case of survival, because I honestly can't see all the drivers making it through. There's 35 cars, as you said, and that's a very tight first couple of corners there. So it'd be good to see them all go through, but I don't think we'll see that. But we'll have to wait and see what develops in the first corner, and if Simon Field can keep that lead. Alan Terry in third position behind him has been a good starter in the past, so let's see what happens as the cars go down to start the race now.
So yeah, as you say, Simon Field is your pole man here. Richard Wilde second, Adam Terry is third on the grid. So that yellow and black car that you see there on the grid is the pole position man, Simon Field, taking pole by a very, very small amount indeed. 10-lap race here at Laguna Seca. We're ready to go. The lights are on. They're green, and the cars are away as we watch them all pull away.
It's a good start there from Adam Terry's made a good start. He's going to try and go down the inside of Richard Wild to go down to turn 1. He's got the inside line, but behind them, just to see what happens there, we've got the KX car also trying to make a move, and will they all get through the corner is a big question. The first 10 or so seem to have gone through okay, but it's a mid-pack where I expect to see maybe a little bit of trouble, but I think they've all near enough got through without much, so it's a very good start from the iRacing British Touring Car Championship.
Oh, we've got a spinner and a little bit of a slowdown there, just coming out of the first corner, right at the back of the grid. A couple of cars off on the gravel, doesn't look to be too serious because they've all got going again, and we're back with the race leader, Simon Field, in the Wix racing machine. Terry is now up to second, ahead of Richard Wilde, and the top three now should start to pull away if qualifying was anything to go by. Field gets a little bit of dirt on the way out of turn 6, heading up to the corkscrew, and Wilde is right on the back of Adam Terry coming into the corkscrew. This is such a dangerous moment because the braking in here is so tight, and you really don't want to screw this one up on the first lap. It's Field from Terry, from Richard Wilde, and one of the KX Momentums down there in 4th position as well.
Pineda also further down has had a bit of a bad first lap, and he's fighting it out where he's got one of the Dynajet cars in front of him. He's trying to get round the outside, and there's a Dynajet car on the wall as well, and that's not Darryl Bennett, is it, the man we spoke to before the race? It is. Unfortunately, Darryl Bennett is in the wall, so very tough luck for the guy we interviewed before the start of the race. Oh,
and that's no way to start his first race in the British Touring Car Championship. Let's have a look, see what happened to Bennett there. We have to take it back a little bit further to see what's happened. So Bennett coming through
Simon
turn
Field's
6.
dropped down as well, Chris.
We'll come to that in just a moment,
Something's
Dan.
happened to Simon Field.
It's all going on, I've got to say. We're just having a look now at Darryl Bennett coming through the corkscrew on the first lap. He's got it a bit sideways on entry, on the right-hander coming out of the corkscrew, just spins the tail round and he's in the wall. He doesn't look to be too affected by that, to be honest, but because all the other cars, of course, coming through behind him, that made it very difficult. And did we see what happened to Simon Field off camera there?
I haven't had a look yet, but Simon Field down into 6th position, but the battle for 3rd and 4th places, or 4th and 5th rather, is hotting up because McLaren's gone wide, and that's going to give Ellis Stevens the momentum he needs to go up the hill towards the corkscrew. It's going to be Ellis Stevens on the inside, McLaren on the outside. They go into the corkscrew now, but Ellis Stevens thinks better of a move, so McLaren keeps that 4th position, but this has allowed David Grunwald in front of them to pull up a bit of a gap. It's got about a second gap between them and about for 4th and 5th.
And a really exciting race here on the second lap from Laguna Seca. McLaren has been edged out by Stevens now. Stevens biding his time quite sensibly, you might argue. He knew he was faster through the corkscrew but didn't take the opportunity. McLaren is now down in 5th position behind Stevens, as we just see one of those cars go off on the last corner there. And do you know did you see who that was?
And also, it was one of the Air Race cars, but also Simon Field is in the pit lane, so our pole position man is finding himself in the pit lane, so not what he would have hoped for after getting all that hard work in qualifying.
And we didn't see a problem with Field, did we? We didn't see him striking. He might have some damage on that car. Let's see if he gets it going again. Dropping all the way down the field now because these cars are so tightly packed. No one's had a chance to pull out a massive advantage just yet. We'll see if he gets going a little bit later on. In the meantime, the battle for the lead is between Adam Terry and Richard Wilde. So the orange and black Dynojet car there of Adam Terry coming through turn 6 now. Is being hounded by Richard Wilde as one of them just runs a little bit wide. We're looking back now from Terry's car as they come into the corkscrew. Wilde has been faster and had more practice on this track, but as he goes down the inside, coming out of the corkscrew, has he got the momentum to take him round? No, he hasn't. So Terry takes the defensive line out of the next corner, which gives Wilde the run. Wilde's now down the inside, coming into the next corner. Terry's going defensive. Wilde doesn't get it, so Terry's now got the inside for the final corner, and he should hold that.
Yeah, he should hold it. This is going to allow David Grunnell a chance maybe to catch them both up, and he has indeed. And also, one of the cars from further back has made some real gains is Stephen Hefford. He started in 15th place, he was up to 7th place at the end of the last lap, but now the battle has become a three-way fight because Terry, Wilde and Grunnell are all within a second of each other.
Just riding on board now with Dave Grunnell. Oh, and Terry's kind of made a mess with that first corner, and he's... Wilde's followed him through there, so Grunnell, looking to capitalise on this, has really got his sights on the back of that white and blue car of Richard Wilde.
Terry went very wide there, and that's going to allow Wilde a chance down the inside. And this time, he is going to make it stick. So change for lead, they've both gone wide, and now Grunnell is going to have the run on both of them. So as we come now down towards turn 5, what's going to happen here then, Chris?
Oh, and Grunnell around the outside, but he's not quite got the run. If he'd got that, if those two had gone wide and he'd got down the inside, I think he might have taken that. The positions have swapped at the front. Wilde is in the lead from Terry. Grunnell is in third, and Terry now going a bit wide. He's almost like he's lost his rhythm there a little bit, Dan.
Yeah, because we saw that in the first corner, but Ellis Stevens was 3 seconds behind at the end of the lap nearly, and he's right on the back of Grunnell now, and there's a car going off just in front of them as well, pulls out the way. It's a Dynojet car, good driving there from him to get out of the way of the leaders, but this battle at the front, with every lap that goes by, there seems to be another driver who fancies a piece of the action, but it's currently well leading from Terry, with Grunnell in third place and Ellis Stevens in fourth.
So Stevens now right on the back of this lead group. We'll stay with this battle right now because it doesn't look like it has a resolution just yet, coming out of the end of lap 4. Wilde looking to pull away, using that disruption in Terry's rhythm just to pull away, but Terry looks to have got it back in order now. Meanwhile, Stevens is a predator. We've seen that in qualifying. He didn't set a time right till the end, jumped quite high on the grid there, and is now in a position maybe even to take the win here.
Yeah, it could be Terry very, very close to the back of Richard Wilde there. Maybe gone a bit wider out of 3 than he wanted to do so, but he's not going to lose out to Grunnell. Grunnell's a bit far behind, and all 4 drivers there, the two by the back there, Grunnell and Stevens, kicking up the dirt as they get down the straight, and that would just be what Wilde and Terry needed. It might take away just that tiny bit of pressure, which stopped them going down the inside at turn 5 with the loss of momentum, but now they're coming to that crucial turn 6.
We'll see how they do through here as Terry taking a lot of curb there. It's disrupted the car. He's kept it in shape, but we're on board now with Terry, looking forward to the back of Richard Wilde's Speedworks Motorsport car as they come into the corkscrew for the 5th time. Both drivers keeping it fairly neat and tidy. I don't think Richard Wilde is going to be feeling too much pressure here as he starts to pull away. I think if he can get a grip on this race, which he looks like he's almost a full second ahead now, he should be able to take this one. What do you think?
I think it's going to be an interesting race because we've seen that the drivers at the front, although they quit, they do make slight little mistakes. So it's not always settled. But also, Laura Bond's gone down a lot. She was in 9th position the last lap, and now she's down in 19th position. So a little bit of a drama there for Laura Bond. And Terry goes wide, and Grunnell's going to try and get down the inside. Good driving from both of them there to avoid an incident. As they go now in towards turn number 3, you've got Grunnell on the outside, but also Ellis Stevens going to try and get down the inside there of Grunnell, and Stevens has the inside, and I think we'll see a change maybe for 4th position.
Stevens now down the inside of Grunnell. He's not got the run, and Grunnell's got the inside line for the next corner. Meanwhile, Richard Wilde, of course, pulling away as these two fight it out. Stevens tries on the inside, tries on the outside. He's not going to do it this time. Just tries to look to line that car up to come out to the next corner. there's very little chance he's going to be able to do anything at turn 6, so it's just about lining it up now for the corkscrew. Another very difficult place to overtake another car. So Stevens, but we've seen him do this before in a previous lap. He waits till after the corkscrew and then he'll pounce. Like I say, he's a real predator when it comes to this overtaking business and the qualifying lap time setting business. He's just on the back now of Grunhill's car. Can't make it work this time. So positions after lap 6 is Wild, Terry, Grunhill, and then we're looking now at Stevens in 4th position. As he goes down the inside, he's not going to pull that one off. He's a bit ambitious there. Pulls out of it quite wisely.
Yeah, pulls out of it wisely, but these top 4 providing a lot of entertainment. We've not really seen much of the rest of the field, but that's because these top 4 really are putting on a good show. You've got McCarron in 5th position, Daniel Hunt is 6th, Herford 7th, Paul Bird's 8th, Neil High 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Chris Shaw. And as the cars come now down to turn 2, again, Stevens has a good run on the exit of the corner. He seems to be able to exit these corners with a lot more momentum. He's going to have the inside to turn 3, but David Grunhill's like, you're not going past there, shuts the door on him quite firmly. So David Grunhill carries that last position on the podium at the moment, but it's a good little battle here between Grunhill and Stevens.
And they just have to watch themselves here. They've been very sensible so far, I have to say. No one has really made any kind of desperate lunges at the front. Terry losing that top spot through a mistake of his own, capitalised on by Richard Wilde, but they just have to be a little bit careful. With 2 more races to go, they don't want to miss out on any points from this, and there is a big difference between coming home on the podium and coming home out of the points, which would be in 16th place. And it's so easy to do because there's not a lot of time in between those positions at the moment. 16th is really not that far down the field, especially if you pick up some damage.
Yeah, so talking of damage, Simon Field, we saw him earlier going into the pits. He's down in 21st position, and the back end comes out for Simon Field. It's across the gravel, going to carry on back on the track, but Simon Field really seems to be struggling with that Wix Racing car. He's down in 21st position, and nearly had another off there. And
we're just looking at Simon Field coming out of that last corner there. Yeah, just picked up a little bit too much dirt on the way in, and that really hurt him. And there's only 3 laps to go in this race now. Simon Field has thrown this one away. He's in 21st. There's very little chance he's going to pick up any points from this race. And the leaders now are really, I mean, they're on their own, aren't they? McCarron in 5th is a way off, but he's not going to do a lot in the next 3 laps, I don't think. As Richard Wilde in the lead there, coming up to his one of the back markers just to make an overtake, should let him through.
There's a great battle going on further down with Stephen Hefford, Daniel Hunt and Sean Lay. They're fighting for 6th position, and Hefford has currently got the position, but you've got Hunt and Lay. Lay's coming down the inside in the Allison Lee car. He's going to make a position there, so good battling further down the field, but Hefford's gone wide, and Sean Lay thinks it's Christmas, New Year, birthday all in one go. Takes the position very, very easily there. So Sean Lay has made 2 places in the space of 2 corners there.
And also Hefford's now under threat as well. He might lose another position to Paul Bird coming into turn 6. He's just held on to that one, and it almost seemed like the pressure was a bit too much for Stephen Hefford there, just coming out of this, losing almost 2 positions there.
Yeah, my apologies. I said it was Daniel Hunt. It wasn't, in fact, it was Stephen Hefford. But Stephen Hefford there making another mistake at the corkscrew, and that is going to allow the cars behind him to get even closer. But Adam Terry was trying to come a bit under pressure from the cars of Grundle and Stevens, but on that last lap it seems to have pulled out a small gap between the 2 of them. So as we come now onto the final lap, Richard Wild with the
and Hefford's slowing down.
Second lead.
Hefford's got a, sorry to interrupt, Hefford's got a slow down, I think, and makes contact with the back of Neil Hind there. So Hefford now down to a 10th place. And back to you, Dan, because you were talking about the leaders battle there.
Yeah, I was just to say, Richard Wild really has. He said before about him getting clear, and he's got clear, and he's made full advantage of it. A 3.6 second lead, and then unless he makes a catastrophic error, you're pretty sure that he's going to win this race. Andy Morgan, unfortunately, is retired as well in the Sicily Racing car, I noticed. But we talked earlier about Pinella, and Pinella is down in 19th position. So his return to the iRacing British Touring Car Championship has been far from ideal. And he's got in front of him the number 32 car, that's our lady driver, Lower Bond. And she's going to try and put Steve Richardson under pressure. So on this last lap, there's battles going on all over the track. But Richard Wild at the moment is pretty clear, and he's not far away now from taking victory. He's coming down the rainy curve now into turns number 10 and 11, so about 2 corners to go, one corner to go, and Richard Wild will be taking victory here at Laguna Seca.
Well, let's hope we haven't put the commentator's curse on him too soon. But it does look that way at the moment. Very smooth drive from Richard Wild. Bided his time, took the lead, didn't qualify on pole position. Qualified third, in fact, if I remember correctly. And Adam Terry losing out to a little bit of action in the gravel, just giving Richard Wild enough room to get through. But once he's through, he is running away from this, running away with this rather. And Dave Grunhill has been pipped by Ellis Stevens, who is now in third place. So Stevens with a good qualifying, but not necessarily the best qualifying, and he's moved up all the way to third to take that, well, provisionally the last podium spot there. We're just having a look down now at Stephen Hefford, who did have that it was 6th position, wasn't it? And he's lost a few places since then. Just looked to get a little bit unsettled by the proximity of those other cars.
Yeah, and also got side by side coming across the line. Ignacio Pinella's just pipped Laura Bond. They were side by side going across the line, but yeah, it just seemed to be that some of the drivers, Adam Terry in particular, seemed to lose his rhythm very briefly, and to his cost, he lost the lead. But Ellis Stevens, we said there, a great drive from Stevens to get past David Grunel. So a third place for Ellis Stevens, and Sean Lay as well. He made a couple of good moves over into 7th place, but it's been an absolutely fantastic race from the first race for the iRacing British Touring Car Championship, and race 2 and 3 are going to have to be quite something to beat this.
Indeed, yes, as we watch Richard Wild come over the line to take the win. He's actually, it looks like he's backed off a little bit. Adam Terry's a lot closer now. He's over the line. Terry second. Stevens coming over the line now in third position, with Dave Grunhill in 4th. McCarron will take 5th. Very impressive drive from him. We didn't see much of him during the race, but he was very consistent throughout, and Daniel Hunt coming through in 6th. Meanwhile, further down in that battle, just coming through the corkscrew for the last time, and Pinella has managed to get round Laura Bond, and Laura Bond's now under attack from that is, who is that just behind Laura there? That's it's Graham Smith. No, it's not. It's no, it's a back marker. That's why I'm getting confused. But Pinella's taken it.
Sharp, it is, yeah.
Oh, it is it's Stephen Sharp, right? But he's a lap down, so that's it looked like he was on the attack there, but on the last lap, really not of consequence. So 17th for Pinella in what will be a disappointment for him, and Laura Bond coming home in 18th place. Let's get those results then up on the screen, so you can have a look at them at home. Welch Motorsport taking the victory, with Richard Wild, after a very promising qualifying, taking the win in dynamic fashion. Rather easily, you feel, once he did get past Adam Terry. Terry second, Ellis Stevens third on the podium, and Dave Grunhill 4th place. McCarron 5th, Hunt 6th, Sean Lay 7th, Paul Bird 8th, John Richardson, one of our Richardsons in the race today, 9th place. Very well done for John Richardson. And Peter Van Gool, Pertec Racing's highest finisher, in 10th. And as we look at the rest of the results now, we're just joined by Simon Topham, who came home for Wicks Racing, taking that very last point in 15th. Are you there, Simon?
I am.
How was that for you, Simon?
That was difficult. Trying to get around that first lap without any contact was not easy. I managed to get involved in a couple of incidents which slowed me down, but 15th, 1 point, good result.
A very tough field out here, as a few of the other drivers have commented. Pinella back in the race from a few weeks out. No cats this week, but the top 20 all separated just by the 2 seconds of qualifying. How do you feel about the second race, starting at 15th? Can you improve on that?
I think I can. If I can get through the first lap without getting any damage to the front of my car, I think I'll be away.
And just on that first lap, because we didn't see it on camera, unfortunately, but how much of a difference did that make to the front of the car during that race?
Oh, I definitely think it slowed it down. I gave Marcus Narris a nudge into turn 3, and then there was a kerfuffle coming down the corkscrew on the first lap. So.
And for what is essentially a championship open to everyone, how is the racing out there on the track? Is it fair, or do you feel like some drivers maybe took a little bit of an advantage of the position that they shouldn't have maybe been able to take?
No, I think it's fairly fair, to be honest. I think it was just one of those first laps, tough track, not really much you can do.
And have you much experience on this track, or is it going to be going into the second race thinking I know the track a lot better than I did coming into the first?
Oh, definitely learnt a lot in that first race. This is probably in about the second or third time I've actually raced this track in any car, so it's a good learning experience, race 1, to build for race 2 and race 3.
And those races will be coming up in just a moment. Simon Topham there from Wix Racing. Thanks very much for joining us, Simon.
No worries.
And Dan, that was fantastic racing, and can we top that in race 2?
Well, it would help if I got the laps right. I thought it was only a 9-lap race, so apologies to all those. I called it a lap early, but I think the second race will definitely have a bit of a different feel to it, and I can't wait for the third race, the reverse grid race with the top 10 being reversed. I think that's going to be a proper good race. But yeah, I think the racing from that first one, as Simon said, it seemed quite fair on the from what we saw in the commentary box. I think there was some very good racing as well, all down the field. So very fair, very firm. There's been some good battling as well, so it makes it good for the rest of the meeting. The prospects are looking very good.
And just to pick up a little bit on Peter Van Gool in the Pertec racing machine, we didn't see much of Peter during the race. Didn't qualify so well, but coming home in 10th, taking home a good haul of those points, he did pretty well for me. How about you?
Yeah, obviously when you start a bit further down to getting the points, it's a good drive for him really, because he did qualify quite a way down in 18th place, and he's managed to avoid the trouble that there was on track. He's managed to pull off some overtaking moves, and he should be quite happy with this position, the top 10 position. He's got a few championship points there, and yeah, very very good drive there from Peter Van Gool.
I think the quality of the racing was very high in terms of racecraft, not just pace but racecraft as well, not taking each other out on every opportunity like we can see in some other leagues, but if that's maintained into the second race, we're sure for an exciting time there as well. The race was scheduled for 10 laps, must have been changed to 9. Both myself and Dan did miss out on that fact. Before we called the end of the race, it was over before we knew it as well. And joining us now is we can go over to Malcolm Foster for Pertec Racing and just have a look at see what he's got to say for himself after that 27th. How was that for you, Malcolm?
It was quite a good race actually. I started right at the back of the grid. I think it was 33rd or 34th. I avoided all the crashes in the first few laps, and then unfortunately for me, on the last lap, Darryl Bennett comes through, obviously been involved in the crashes at the beginning, and decided to try and overtake me on the first bend on the inside. He was going too fast, catches my left side, goes off the track, comes off the pit lane and hits me again. So I get took out on the last lap.
So you're not a happy man going into race 2, but you can do better than 27th in the second race, you feel?
Yeah, I feel I can, yeah. I mean, you look at the qualifying times and it's a bit daunting when you see those times, but we all know that race pace is nowhere near that, simply because of the number of cars on the track.
And how difficult was it coming from the back of the field there, with a field of 33, going down to what's a very tight first corner?
Well, I just hung back because I anticipated there was going to be some trouble there, so I just stayed on the inside, on the left side, and let them all run wide. I think the biggest crash took place on the first lap just after the corkscrew, as you take the left after the corkscrew, and there was a huge crash there, and I managed to pick my way through it. Pretty easy, really.
Well, best of luck for you in the second race, hoping to improve on your 27th for Pertec Racing, Malcolm. Thanks for joining us.
Yep, cheers, Chris, thanks.
And Simon Field now joining us. We have a quick word with Simon, hopefully. Over to you for this one, Dan.
Simon, you started the race in pole position. What happened out there?
The usual. Bit greedy coming up to the corkscrew, cut the corner and got myself a penalty.
Very unfortunate, and then from then on, really, it was a case of you had to make a pit stop. What was that for?
That was a stop and go. I tried to clear the slow down, it wouldn't clear, so as I crossed the line, I got 22 seconds stop and go. So
very, very cruel luck. But for the second race, what do you think you can get from that one?
well, I think I can certainly make the certainly make the top 10 if I can keep it clean. I had good pace in the second half of that race. That was, a bit of back into that race. I was just picking off the people I could to get me a decent starting spot for the race too.
First corner is going to be a bit hairy, we should say. Good luck for that. Good luck for the second race, there, Simon.
Lovely. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Well, that is a good good explanation for why, unfortunately, poor old Simon Field finished down in 19th there. A chance now just to grab one more driver just at the end of the first race here. Peter Van Gool, who came home in an impressive 10th place. Peter, how was that race for you?
Well, I was doing quite well because I qualified on 17th and just hung back a little and people were just crashing out.
So how much overtaking was it, and how much of it was kind of just passing people who happened to crash out?
Well, two of them, they spinned out of the corkscrew and it was just holding back for them to make a mistake, and I actually didn't do any overtaking.
Well, that's it's always an easier way to do it, but you're going to face a tougher challenge now in the second race, starting from 10th on the grid. Do you feel like you can move up from there?
Well, I hope so, because I think most of the people who were finishing in the back of the field just were taken out by other drivers who have made a mistake and get a slowdown.
Excellent. Well, best of luck to you in the next race. We'll be looking out for you on the track.
Thank you.
Alright, that is the end of the first race from the Laguna Seca Raceway in the iRacing British Touring Car Championship, and if I'm up for anything, I'm up for race 2. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, definitely a really stoked for this one. We saw some great racing, as I said before, and it can only get better. The second race is going to be... It'll be interesting to see what happens at the front. I think if the same with the first race, if Wild gets away, I think he struggled to try and get hold of him. The first battle for the lead for the first 3 or 4 laps, really good stuff with the 4 drivers getting involved. It was only 2 to start with, but then the others put themselves in the position, and really from that point on there was very good racing in that sort of area. But it'll be interesting to see what race 2 can provide us.
And we're just going to take a quick break now, so join me, Chris Cohen, and my colleague Dan Blake for round 11, which is going to be coming up here. If you're watching live, it'll be on in about 10 or 15 minutes, and if not, just switch over to the next YouTube video here on BSR TV.